I guess I'll ask about Tarasov this morning. I know you mentioned previously about being able to evaluate him. When you have the rest of the season like this, from your experience, just how do you feel like you have enough time to properly evaluate somebody like that, like a goaltender? Like, do you need 10 games, 20 games? Is there kind of a gauge that you use when it comes to that?
No, I don't think there's a. For him, it might be 20 games. For somebody else, it might be 10. The fact that he hasn't played much in the past few years probably takes some more time to have a real solid evaluation on him. Just think about Zach Werenski when he came back from a long injury. Think about Gus Nyquist when he was here. It took him like almost 3 months. For a goalie, it's no different. So it takes some time. He needs to play. So for us to make a decision on him, and it's an important one, he needs to play. And how long it's going to take, that's the evaluation we're going to see, how quick he adjusts and how consistent he is. But he needs to play.
I know you talked about the goalies yesterday. Any other lineup changes for tonight for you?
Andrew Peeke comes back in.
Juracek is the out.
Yes, yeah.
What have you thought of Juracek of late, and what has led to him not playing?
It's just little things, nothing major, but just little things here and there. We wanted to give him a good day of practice today again. We're working on his on some technical parts of his skating, his mechanics of skating. Just for some of those young guys, once in a while to take a deep breath and reevaluate your position, having some meetings with the coaches and having a good understanding of where he's at, it's not a bad thing. So that's what we're doing right now with him.
Spent some time with Adam this morning talking to him about facing this next half of the season and, 40 games, 50 games, 60 games. Didn't really seem to be something that he was overly concerned about. As a coach, how do you handle a player like that who's going into kind of uncharted territory in terms of numbers of games played with all the other things that come with being
So
an NHL
we
player?
assess that. We have some numbers that we run in the gym, and we have a data on the players and fatigue and all of that. So for him right now, it's not a concern. We're just going to stick to the plan. If we feel that his numbers, energy level and all of that, body fat, weight is trending in the wrong direction, we'll make some decisions. But right now, mentally he's sharp. Physically he's good to go. Energy level he's fine. So we're going to stick to the plan.
And we've spoken about his maturity in handling these types of things. How beneficial is that? Just his attitude and the way he's dealing with it day to day.
Yeah, no, he's been good. It's a big step going from college to the NHL, and what he doesn't know is what we've seen so far is the NHL, but after Christmas to the All-Star break, it's just going this way. There's the time and space is not there as much, and after the All-Star break, it just goes like this. Because for simple reasons, teams are pushing for playoff positions. Teams that are in the playoffs, they want to move up so they can maybe get the home ice advantage, or they want to stay in the playoff position. So the game just goes. Every game gets harder and harder and harder, and we'll see how he's going to deal with this. But it's a big change. Not only the grind of the season. The number of games, the travel, and what is expected every shift in order to be successful in the NHL. That's a big learning moment for him for the rest of the season anyway. And it's going to get harder and harder for everyone. And it's a truth for all teams, all players in the NHL. So it's going to be interesting how he's going to react. But we try to educate him as much as we can. But there's no words that can make a difference in the sense that he has to experience it.
Just looking at practice the other day, it looks like some new line combinations, maybe looking for a little bit of a spark offensively. But are you excited to kind of see maybe how some of those come together and see if some of those guys can play with each other?
Yeah. We've seen in the past that Fantilli and Kent Johnson was a good combination. That line was with Bamstrom, and they were doing really well. Now we're going to have Jack Roslovic on the right side with those two. But to me, right now, the story of the recent days or weeks is Cole Sillinger. His game is just improving and improving and improving. And It's not. I'm not talking about the offense because the offense is coming from his great play without the puck. His routes are good. He's better on faceoffs. He's winning faceoff. He's physical. He's going to the hard areas, distributing the puck properly. So he's playing a real solid game for us right now, and it's not always translated in numbers, but the numbers we have are not necessarily translated in points or goals and assists. So his game is trending up. We know that Chinnikov and Sillinger has some chemistry from past experiences, and we want to see if that's going to work with Johnny tonight. So we have some tweaks with our lineups, and we'll see how it's going to work.
What have the last 3 days off being able to practice been able to do for your club?
Yeah, well, so that's something we didn't really have for X amount of months because of our schedule. So just a reset, like going over our breakouts, just the little tweaks here and there that we can practice. Our tracking, our D-zone coverage, our forecheck, our breakouts. So we've done some video about this. But also being able to have a little bit more meetings with the players and staying connected with the team and having an understanding where the team's at mentally. Because when you play games, it's just about what do we need to do today to play tonight and how to be successful tonight. So you don't necessarily have the time. And you guys take a lot of time on my day, so I have to spend some time with you guys. But no, it's been good. It's even more so with a younger team. We're learning and growing, being able to take a deep breath, have a day off, 2 good practices, and we're not going to see necessarily a difference in one day. That's when you do it multiple times in the season that you see now the way we play becomes more consistent.
When you think about, or going back to Fantilli, I guess that expectation of growth, but also the uncharted territory that you were talking about in terms of fatigue and playing more games than he's used to. I'm curious, as a coach, how do you encourage that continued development, that continued growth, while also kind of making sure that, he's okay physically, that he's adjusting well? And things like that?
But, at the end of the day, it's the NHL. And we especially Mark Recchi, speaks to him on a daily basis. But at the end of the day and I've said that earlier this season, whether you're 19 years old or 35, I don't care in a sense that can you play or you can't? Are you an NHL player? So for him, it's just we observe, we analyze, we try to fix one problem if it's a problem at a time or improve and help him grow and then see if it works in games. If there's no improvement, then we go back to step one. If there's an improvement, then we move to the next thing that we need to fix. But his mindset, he's a guy that he wants to get better. He wants to be a difference maker. And sometimes what I like about him, and I'm not sure it's going to make sense, but he's pushing the pace all the time, and sometimes he has to slow down. That's probably the one thing he needs to learn the most is, as a centerman, to slow down a little bit, just to understand where the puck is, because he's going. But I like that. Like I need to pull him a little bit, not to push him. So that's a good sign. And with experience, he's going to learn when to go and when not to go. So, but his mindset is good. Positive young man. He wants to be a difference maker. He gets mad when he doesn't produce enough. But that's the reality of the NHL. You won't produce every shift.
You're going back to what you say you talk to the players. What's the conversations with Andrew Peeke been like? And probably a little bit of frustration and having to wait his turn, now getting an opportunity tonight.
Thank you for asking, because some guys we don't necessarily talk about a whole lot. Andrew Peeke he's the ultimate teammate. He hasn't played a whole lot this year. Been a healthy scratch for quite some games. And his ability to stay a true professional without creating any distractions in the room is off the chart. To me, that's great leadership. He is coachable. He is honest. He tells us he wants to play. Obviously, we know that, but he's a man. And when you talk to him, there's an honest, mature conversation. But what he does, he's the first guy or one of the first guy on the ice, works hard, he's in the gym, supporting his teammates, trying to help his teammates, even the guys. So we're talking about a team, and he wants a spot back in the lineup, and he knows that he has to beat somebody else to be in the lineup, but he's still supporting and helping those guys to get better. So this guy is the ultimate teammate, and there's no, I was saying that to Bob earlier, there's no data for this. There's no stats, there's no numbers. You can't explain it. You have to see it and witness what he does in the room. This guy brings a lot of leadership, even though he's not playing every night. And, you know, who is perfect? I'm not, we're not, no player is, but his approach to the game, his ability to be a solid and a great teammate is perfect. He's an A+ for me, and it has a huge value.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
All right, guys. Yep.